Hey guys, this is Adrian from Astrology. A Look Inside is Capricorntigress, Adrian Igo. I am sick to my stomach. I had just taken the time to record this, and I thought I had it, and I hit the wrong button and lost it all. And now I'm beginning to lose my ability to make the videos, because when it gets to be a certain time of the day, I start to fade out because of the sun, and I hope that these are recording so that you can actually physically see me. So I'm going to go ahead and discuss this one more time, and hopefully we will get this recorded this time. And what I'm doing is sharing information about the houses, and we'll be discussing the 12 houses of astrology and why they're so important. Because one of the things I get often from people is the question, well, I'll give them a reading or show them their chart, and I'll go, well, explain this to me. Well, it's hard for me to explain it to you from scratch, but what I'll do is I'll give you a general idea of what these houses are and what they mean. And so if you get a reading from me, or you come across this information, you can now know what these basic houses mean. So let's start from the beginning. In astrology, there are 12 houses. There are the planets, the luminaries, there's aspects, and there's transits, and there are houses. And the houses are vital in determining the area in which certain things are happening in your life. By knowing where things are happening in your chart, I can actually find out quite a bit and help you depending on what planets are there and what aspects affect those houses. So what I want to do is go through and discuss each house so that you have a better idea of what these houses mean when I discuss them or when we do a reading. Because it's important to understand how vital some of this information in these houses are in your life. I'm sorry about the water. I just spent like 35 minutes going over these houses and lost that entire video. And I'm just in shock over that still. And of course, I'm losing my light. Because if the sun hits me the wrong way, I just disappear in the light. Do not tell me why. I do believe it's because I've got my sun on my ascendant, and it just happens naturally. Look, if I go over here in the light, look, I've just completely disappeared. I'm like an albino or something. I don't even understand. I think it's because I don't go outside very often, and certain times this just happens. So we'll get used to that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to start with the first house, and the first house rules the ascendant. You'll hear me talk about the ascendant or the rising sign. And this is the area that is you. The first house is you. It rules you and everything about you. And it is the area of personal development, and it's things like, how do I look? Like, if you see me primping and looking at myself even as I record this video, it's because I'm a person who was born with their sun on the ascendant. So me looking at myself and making sure I look attractive to myself, that is vital to me. I spend quite a great deal of time primping and making sure that I look presentable. And that is the first house. It's your area of self. The area of you is the area of personal development. It's where you ask, how do I look? It's where you'll do exercise routines or weight lift to make your body look more attractive. It's the head first energy, all that area of energy that has to do with the head. And that is from above the neck, because the neck rules Taurus or second house. But the head up through the hair, all of this, the ears, all of it, this is the Aries or first house energy, and it describes how you look. It also shows your self-development and the time for you, any of the things that you think about yourself or do for or about yourself, this is all first house. Independence, things like that, all indicated by the first house. It's your ability to change the way you look, even, is indicated there. And it's everything that has to do with the sign of like Aries and things like that, your first house and your personality. So that was the first house. And so next we'll go and discuss the second house. And the second house is ruled by Taurus. And Taurus is an area, or the second house is an area that is rules the area of money. And this is the money that you make. It's how you make your money, and how money is tied into your self-esteem and how you think about yourself, and if you feel good about yourself, and if you feel good about what you're doing, and how you draw people to you because of how you feel about what you do and the money that you make, and people will want to pay you for your services. It's how you spend your money, and how you budget your money, and how you're driven to get money. This is all indicated by the second house. It's how you earn your income. It's not other people's money. It's your money, your income. It's where you learn to be practical about your money and your finances and things that are your possessions, things that are yours. The third house is the house of Gemini, and this is the house of communications, the house that everything that has to do with communicating or traveling, or not traveling so much, but moving about, like in your neighborhood and your, in your city, short journeys, like a trip here or there. Any kind of short communication, like talking, emailing, texting, Instagramming, technology, any kind of that type of communicating, networking, negotiations, financial negotiations, anything that has to do around your neighborhood and the people that are around you, and even things like learning languages and communicating, actually physically talking with people. Anything that has to do with stuff like that, and writing and communicating and stuff like that. I call reading, writing, arithmetic. That's third house. Driving cars, driving. Third house. That's third house. Next would be the fourth house. And the fourth house is the Cancer house. And it is the house of home and family. And it's the house that is at the very bottom of your chart, and it's the roots of your chart. At the root of everything, there's that fourth house, and the planets are rooted down there, and they usually have to do with things that pertain to the home and the family and the mother and motherhood, and all things that have to do with like home life, those type of things. Next would be, and by the way, fourth house also deals with things like the emotions and nurturing yourself and others. So that's also important. Okay, next we'll deal with the fifth house. Okay, and the fifth house is the natural house of Leo. And this house rules children and romance and creativity and sports and acting and all expressions of creativity and shining and showing off and allowing yourself to shine. This is a house of like self-employment, the entrepreneur house. These are the bright, shiny people. This is the house of gambling and the house of romance and the house of like taking chances and like playing the lotto. This is a house of royalty and princesses and things like that. Taking a chance on life and gambling on life. This is very common for people with strong fifth house charts. The sixth house is the Virgo house, and it's the house that rules things like health and service and work and what's happening with your work and the redundancy of your work and contractions and like the people that you work with and the employees, like your co-workers and all the gossip and that type of thing. That's all sixth house. And like your service to others, like what you do to help others, and like what you can do as far as helping and healing, and it has to do with your health. So, hospital, like if you have a problem with your health, that could be indicated there. But a lot of times it indicates, if someone has a strong sixth house, that they'll work in a hospital at one point or another. Or they'll be at service, do service work, like administrative work or clerical work or something like that. Next is the seventh house. The seventh house is the house of marriage. It's the partnership house. It is the relationship house. It is the Libra house. And it is a business relationship house. It's a house of one-on-one committed relationship type of house. But it's also a house of open enemies. And so if if you see someone and they're of the sign of your seventh house, I would always be careful, because that you and that person might get into it, especially if they're not of the opposite sex. So just be careful. That always sort of indicates where your open enemies might be. Next is the eighth house, and the eighth house is the Scorpio house. This is the house that rules other people's money. This is where other people, might pay you out of, let's say, for instance, my daughter got scholarships, because this place is where scholarships rule. Scholarships, grants, annuities, insurances, mortgages, money that comes in from other people or institutions, all the things also that are deep and hidden, like hidden deep things, and how other people secretly feel about you. Secrets, by the way, are here. But getting close to others and deep hidden things about you, and just getting to the bottom of things, because psychology in and of itself is ruled, or the eighth house rules psychology. So all those deep investigative type things, because Scorpio rules the natural investigator. Get to the bottom of things. Next is the ninth house. Ninth house. The ninth house is a Sagittarius house, but it's an optimistic house, and it's a house that rules usually education, higher education, like college and universities, and learning foreign languages and doing foreign travel, and just travel in general, but religion and spirituality, and thinking of deep things like Buddhism and what gives life meaning, and yoga, and international things like higher learning and traveling. That's all very ninth house. Government, politics, diplomacy, dogma, all of these things are very ninth house. So, do keep those things in mind. Going to court, that's ninth house. Lawyers, ninth house. All ninth house. The 10th house. The 10th house is the Capricorn house, and that is the house of the career, the house of your status and where you shine. It's what's shining about you. It's what people think of when they think of you. It is your actual reputation. And so that is indicated by this house. It's where the sun is shining. In my case, or in some cases, it's where the planet is shining the brightest. If they're sitting up in the 10th house, well, they're really showing, and people can see that about you. It shows the ambition. It's a very ambitious house. It shows where you're seen in a way, where people can see you, where you're visible. It's where you're seen in the world, and where you really can't hide. It shows your ambition, and it shows the career that you choose, or that people know you by. That's your 10th house. The 11th house is the Aquarius house, and it's the house that rules all things Aquarius. So that could be like the house of friends, and the house of teams and groups and organizations and brotherly love and helping others others on a large scale, like big humanitarian projects and causes. These are all indicated by the 11th house. Being part of a big group or association, or like say an alumni association or the Rotary Club or the Lions Club. This is all very 11th house. Hopes, dreams, wishes, friends, all indicated by the 11th house. Next is the 12th house, and the 12th house is the Pisces house, and the Pisces house rules all things that are done in secret, things that are done when you're alone. Usually, sometimes people are in hospitals or in institutions or in prisons. It's one of those things that secrets are here. It's a very quiet, subconscious, inner type of energy. So it's where you find your inner strength, your inner subconscious mind, your inner learning and preparation, your intuitive and psychic abilities, and the secrets that you know and carry and hold for others. It can rule drugs and laboratories and pharmaceuticals, and it can rule having drug addictions and alcohol problems. So that is important. It's the things that we do in secrets. So kinky, hidden things are also indicated here. And they often call it the house of self-undoing, because it's the things that we do subconsciously that lead to our downfall, but we continue to do them anyway. That's what this house is normally known for. Well, you guys, this was the 12th houses of Capricorntigress of astrology, a look inside. I hope that you saw some, inner knowledge and reality in what I just said there, and those 12 houses. You can learn more by visiting me at astrologyalookinside.com, where I do have some training and information. My blog is there. Or you can join me on Facebook at Astrology A Look Inside, or at groups on Facebook at Astrology A Look Inside. I look forward to helping all of you. Much love and much light to all. Bye, everyone.